So today we are going to be tackling this front end challenge from Frontend Mentor. It's a really simple challenge, to be honest, but we're going to be doing this using React, right? So you can see here, I've already set up the project. There isn't really anything done yet, right? So of course, I've added Tailwind CSS, and don't worry about that. If you don't know Tailwind CSS, you can still use pure CSS, and everything should still work the way it's supposed to be, right? So I haven't really done anything in here. So basically, this is the project, and in the app.jsx, this is where we're going to be rendering everything. And right now, if I go to the browser, you're going to see that we only have this hello, right? There isn't anything else. Okay, so what I'm going to start by doing is look into this style guide that we're given by Frontend Mentor. I'm going to try and create some variables here, like colors. So let's see what they have for us. Okay. All right. So maybe we can start with the font family here. We can pick the font from Google that they've given us here. Let me just copy this because I need to open it right here. All right. So let's see. We have this font. We're going to get that font and import. Then we can just copy this link right here. And I'm going to paste it in index.css file, which you can find here at the root level inside the source folder, right? This is where I'm basically going to be inserting all the CSS classes that we need, or some resets, etc. Okay, so now that we have that, the next thing I want to do is to get these colors so that we don't have to rewrite them all the time. So I'm just going to copy them here. And inside, I'm going to create a root. And I'm just going to paste them. Okay. All right. So here, this red, I'm just going to call it primary color. And okay, so now we have our variable, and we're going to delete this because we don't need it. Then the other thing I'm going to do here is to just move this. Yeah, I'm going to use small letters here. Okay. Right. Perfect. All right, so now we have our colors in place. What we're going to do is to maybe write HTML and body. Here, we're going to need to set the font family that we just got here. So we can get that right here. Font family. Okay. Now, for other CSS classes, I'll see, maybe I'll add some. But for now, this is basically what we just need. Okay, and what I'm going to do is to just make sure that we can center this card here. And I'm going to break down this layout into smaller parts, but it might be an overkill. But of course, if you're going to be using React in larger projects, it's a good idea to practice trying to organize things into components. So here inside the source, right here, the root level, I'm going to create a components folder. So I'm just going to call it components. And this one is going to be basically the parent. So I'm going to call it newsletter card. Yeah. So this is the newsletter card.jsx. And what we're basically going to do is to implement this entire card in here, right? And then we are also going to have a form here. Yeah, but I think we can keep this one as a div inside. So I'm just trying to break out the layout here, and then we can have the image on the right side, right? Perfect. So first things first, of course, I'm going to start with the desktop layout here, and then we'll go to the mobile. Or you can start with the mobile, right? I think this one is pretty straightforward, so I wouldn't really need to spend a lot of time. Okay, so what we're going to do is implement this newsletter card and then make sure that we render it inside our app.jsx. Okay, so I'm going to use this shortcut to create the React component. Now that we have that component, for now, I'm just going to write card in here and right? And then we're just going to call it right here, newsletter card. So it automatically gets imported once I write it correctly. Right. Okay, so if I go back to the browser, Yeah, we're going to see we have card here. It's being rendered, but we need it right here, right at the center. So to center a div, that means we need to take the full height. So I can say minimum height, device viewport height. Make sure it has a width full, and we're going to use flex item center, which is just align items. If you're using CSS, align item center, and this is flex display flex width full with 100%. Minimum height, 100 device viewport height. Okay, and then we're going to need to justify center, which is for justify content center. And the other thing is we need the background color. Yes, so for background color, we're going to use BG, and then we're going to call that variable. I think here it's what? Blue 800. I'm not really sure. I'm going to have to verify like which is which. Guess it's the other one, 700. I mean, they look almost similar to me, to be honest. Let's see. Yeah, I guess this is the closest one. Yeah, they look kind of similar here. Okay, perfect. So for the card in here, I'm going to use this. I'm going to treat this as a section. And now let's see. So we do have, like I said, we're probably going to need one div that can wrap this together. Let me just use a different color so this makes sense. Yeah, so the one in red, this is going to be one div wrapping this text and the form, right? So I'm going to have a div here, and then I'm also going to have a picture on the right side. So inside this div, that's where we're going to have the first part, which is this one. So I'll probably have a header maybe, which can have an H1 and also a paragraph for this one. Yep. And then, but still inside this wrapper div, we're going to have maybe a list. Yeah, I'm just going to want to iterate on these ones. Yeah, I'm going to put this in an array. But of course, if you want, you can create one by one. But it's a bit boring for me. It is a bit repetitive. So now here, I'm just going to say list equals the array that we're going to do, and it's going to be an array of objects. Yeah, so let's give it an ID. I'm just going to say 1 and text. All right. So for H1, it says stay updated. Stay updated. Then we have this P paragraph. Okay, there was something that wasn't copied there. I think that's everything inside. So in here, we're going to come and map the list. So list.map item. Yeah. And we're going to return. Oh, yeah. And there's also this one, right? And I think we are given this icon that is on every list. So we need this icon here. And I believe it's inside because I got it. If you download that starter, you're going to see it. So images, and I think that's icon success. No, icon list. Yeah. So let's import that. I'm just going to call it import icon list from assets, images, icon. What did I call it? Icon list dot svg, because we need it right here. So, and we're going to render that as a okay. So item dot text. Right? And before we do that, we need to make sure we pass that key. Oops. Okay. Key is going to be item.id. And we still need to pass this. So I could put this inside, it's an image, right? So, because it's needed on each and every item list. So we're going to pass that icon list as the source. It's only for decorative purposes, so you really don't need to put in alternative text here, right? Okay, and then we have the picture here. Right. So in order to put the picture, because we need it to be responsive, right? You can see that they've actually given us desktop, a mobile, tablet. Okay, these are way too long, the names. I'm just going to cut them. All right. Right. So we're going to use the source with media. This is going to be for the desktop. So I'm just going to start from 1200 pixels. And source cert is going to be, okay, before we do that, we need to actually import. By the way, if you have never used the picture, this is actually a really nice HTML tag to use responsive images. They can change based on the viewport width. So you can see here, from 1200 pixels, we're going to pass a certain picture. And from, this is going to be for the tablet. And then finally, I think tablet, you can start from 768. Yeah. And this is basically like the default. Jesus. Yeah. All right. So let's import those images. Okay. Import. We're just going to call it desktop from images. Oops. Desktop.svg. All right, then we have the mobile and the tablet. All right, so this would be tablet. Yeah, actually, I can do this one. Let's put the cursor in multiple places, and this is going to be the mobile. All right, perfect. So when you come in here now, you just have to replace those. So for the desktop, we're going to pass desktop, and for mobile, this is for the tablet, and then this is going to be the default, which is mobile. And I'm not really going to put any alternative text here for screen readers because this is all decorative. There is really nothing that shows any useful information, right? So I'm going to leave it empty like that. Okay, so this is our content here. Let's just see if we have that. Yeah, as you can see, now we have the way it is. Of course, we're going to need to start aligning things correctly. And that's what we're going to be doing in the next video.